Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. This week I'm going to focus on creating a festive holiday look, and I'm super excited to share that we'll be using my Clean Beauty City Slicker kit to get the look. This kit is amazing for if you want to bump up your look, which during the holiday season you absolutely do. It comes with a classic red lipstick color, an amazing mascara, and a really great versatile blush that you can use to add just a little bit of a flush to your cheeks. So we're going to be using the products in the kit to get this look, and we'll get started. So I've already gone ahead and prepped my skin. I used the TRACIE MARTYN Face and Body Moisturizer paired with this amazing foundation from 3, which is a Japanese brand that I really like. My next step is to touch up any areas that might need a little extra concealing, and I used this cover stick from LAVERA, which I picked up from Whole Foods. They don't make very many colors, but they do have a few, and I found that this color, which is Honey 03, works really well for me. I would just warm it up on the back of my hand and using my finger go back in and sort of dab wherever I need maybe a little extra coverage or to cover some redness. Definitely around the corners of the nose, if I have any sort of spots that I need to cover, and then I'll come back in with a little bit more under the eyes. And when you're working under the eye, you want to press in sort of a dabbing motion. You don't really want to rub it because that might aggravate the eyes and actually make them more puffy if you do have some puffiness like I do. So you actually are just dabbing it in gently but firmly, and that will give you the coverage that you need under the eye to brighten and sort of take away any redness. So while we're still in the cream phase, before we do any powdering, I'm going to use a cream blush from YOUNGBLOOD. And this blush comes in the City Slicker kit, and it's in the color Tropical Glow, which is really great. It goes with a lot of different skin tones and can be really flattering. And all you have to do is build the color up. So I'll warm it up by taking a little bit on my finger here, and then tap the excess off on your hand, the back of your hand, because you can always add more later, but taking off color means that you have to go and take it off with a cotton swab, then reapply your foundation or apply more foundation. So always start with less. Less is more, and then we can build it up. So starting with most of it dabbed off in the back of my hand, I'm going to go and smile, concentrating on the apples of your cheeks, and dab upwards and outwards towards the top of your ear. So you're sort of following the natural line of your cheekbone, and that's what blush does. It really just highlights a natural shape of your face, bringing out the structure, the bone structure, by highlighting that cheekbone. So next we're going to focus on the eyes. And the first step is to take a color like this, which is just a matte ivory color. You don't want to have shimmer in it, just to set the base of the eye color for the lid. Take a little bit and tap it off the excess, and then apply all across the eyelid with sort of windshield wipe strokes to get nice application. And all that does is just even out the color on your eyelids and sets for a brighter base for what we're going to do next. Okay, so next step is to pick a sort of taupey brown color. So I might go between this one here or this grayer, more sort of taupe. That one's a little more gray mauve. Figure out what works best for your skin tone. Basically what we're doing is we're just warming up the eye socket a little bit so you don't wind up looking like an ice queen. Maybe I'll just even blend the two of these. And then using the same brush, coming in from the outer corner, sweeping in, and then up into the socket. And what that will do is just create nice definition in the eye, and also bring a little warmth to the face, as I said. The next step is to go back in with the ivory mixed with a tiny bit of this peach color on the inner corner. So now that we focused on the outer corner, we're coming back and focusing on the inner corner, sweeping just across the lid to brighten the eye up again a little bit more. So inner corner, across the lid. And now for the fun part, this is where we get festive. It's bringing in, it's up to you. You can either choose to focus on a gold color if you have warm undertones and you feel that that complements your skin tone best. Definitely go there. Today I'm going to be using a silver tone, and this does have little pigments that are actually visible as sort of like a glitter. So that too is up to you. If you want something really pigmented with the bigger particles, that can be a little bit more editorial or a little bit more dressy if you're going to something formal. If you want it to stay a little more subtle, then look for something that has smaller pigments so it just really blends in and gives you a nice sheen. So I'm using my finger for this. Again, I want to have control of application, and I'm sort of warming up the product with my finger so that when I press it in, it stays nicely. So put a little bit of that glitter pigment or that metallic pigment on your finger, and then starting from the center of the lid, we call this a spotlight, you're going to press it onto the lid and then sort of work your way in both directions. And go back in for some more pigment. And then it's up to you, you know, sort of blending it. I'm going to go into that socket line where we have the brown color sort of waiting for this pigment to layer on top. And if I can get those two just by pressing it and blending it, I might go back in with the brush a little bit to blend, then it looks really intentional and really natural, and there aren't any harsh lines. So next we'll be using the eyeliner from the City Slicker kit, which is a Young Extreme Pigment black eyeliner pencil. It's a total staple. And it's up to you. You can choose to line on the waterline underneath the lid here. I like to do that if I'm doing something that's a little bit more subtle, so you're not creating a line on the lash, but or on the lid rather, but you're creating a thicker lash line. So it's sort of a trick because it's on the inside, so it's not as visible, but you do get the definition. So I'm going to start there, and if I feel like I want to amp it up a little, we might add a line on the lid as well. So just pulling up on the lid, go in on that upper lash line, small little motions. Next, just give a quick curl to your lashes. Really get them to open up. And using yet another product from the City Slicker Clean Beauty Kit, we have a mascara from YOUNGBLOOD, and I'm really excited to use this formula. It's a very black pigment, so again, for holidays, perfect, adding a little bit of extra drama. And just go in and really right down into the lashes. We want this to be a pretty defined look by the eyes, because we have all that metallic going on in the background, so the lashes really have the opportunity to stand out against it if you have the right definition. So working it into the roots and then pulling it out. And then I always like to turn the brush vertically and go back in and create a little more definition that way. So with the eyelashes all done, then we'll move on to the brows and just brush them out with a spoolie. I'm really liking a sort of 1-2 combination of using this brow pencil by BEAUTYCOUNTER in the medium color for me, but they do make a light and a dark. And just sort of from the outer corner, sort of halfway through, pulling little strokes down to even out the shape. And maybe even right in the front to create a little bit of a better shape. And fill in, you know, this is the perfect time to fill in if you have any gaps. Always have a little gap right there. And then you can use the other end of this pencil and brush it through nicely so it really blends. And with the brows, the eyes, the foundation, concealer, all of that done, next step will be to powder. moving into some contouring, highlighting. So I'm going to use this angled brush from BEAUTYCOUNTER with the BEAUTYCOUNTER contouring color. This one is number 1, so it's a little bit lighter. I think in this winter, or the summertime rather, I use number 2, but for now number 1 is perfect. So we're going to sweep up. If you don't quite know where your cheekbone is, or you have a hard time sort of finding exactly where you want to place the contour, it's just under the cheekbone, and one of the ways to do that is to suck in slightly, and it'll show the hollow of the cheek. So that's where you're placing this. And you'll remember that we started with our cream blush, which is still there and visible, and we're blending these two together, just really softly. This keeps the face looking a little warmer, a little more modern. Take a little bit more contouring up here, just on the forehead, and then the jawline, bring it down the neck. So now I'll go back in and add just a little bit of highlighter, using this highlighter that has almost a goldy undertone, and dusting it lightly on the cheekbones. It's really lovely, especially if you're going somewhere where they have nice sort of evening lighting. It sort of catches the light really in a subtle way. Dotting it a little bit on the Cupid's bow here, and then down the center of the nose, just a tiny bit. You can also do a tiny bit above the eyebrows as well. So using a fluffy brush and tapping off any extra. Don't really want it to cake on, but it's important to set the makeup and also take away any shine. I get a little shiny in my forehead, so concentrating there. We'll start with a lip liner. I'm using this lip liner from Boots. So I'm using their red color. Just gonna outline the shape of my lips. So once you have your lip liner on, then you have your base set for adding the Vixen color on top. So I'm just gonna use a makeup brush, but you can certainly do it straight from the bullet from the applicator, because it has a really nice shape. It's perfect for creating this red lip. So that's the finished look, and I think it's a great holiday festive look. It's not too over the top, but it gives you a little bit of that holiday feeling. Definitely cater it to your skin tone. If you want to go for gold on the lids instead of silver, that would be great. You could even do a rose gold, would be really pretty. And feel free to mix up the lip color too. I mean, I picked Vixen because it's out of the City Slicker kit. We wanted to highlight some of the products that you get with that kit. But you could definitely go with a fuchsia or even a purple color during the holiday season, and they're all super fun. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.